Leon Pereira.
Mr. Speaker, can I take question 4 and 5 together, please?
Yes, please.
Mr. Speaker, veterinarians are licensed and regulated by the Animal and Veterinary Service, or AVS for short. As part of the licensing conditions, vets are required to comply with the Code of Ethics for Veterinarians, which sets out the expected professional standard of conduct. Vets who fail to adhere to the rules of conduct may be subject to professional discipline, including written warnings, composition fines, and even suspension or revocation of their licenses. Over the last 3 years, AVS received a total of 65 veterinary complaints, comprising 15 cases in 2019, 25 cases in 2020, and 25 cases in 2021. Of these cases, 10 veterinarians were issued warnings and 1 was issued a compound fine. None were suspended or had their licenses revoked. AVS investigates complaints on professional misconduct or negligence. Investigations can take up to 12 months or longer, as AVS needs time to gather the evidence, including detailed medical records and accounts from all parties, to make a thorough assessment. In complex cases, AVS will seek inputs from veterinary practitioners with the relevant experience and expertise. Such veterinary complaints may be presented to a Complaint Evaluation Committee, or CEC for short, for further assessment. The committee, appointed by AVS, comprises AVS veterinarians, practicing veterinarians, and non-affiliated legal professionals to ensure that the complaints are evaluated robustly. AVS is working with the Singapore Veterinary Association to raise professional standards of the veterinary sector. We are exploring a number of ideas to advance the standards and practices for the sector, including the possible establishment of a professional entity. We are consulting veterinarians, vet paraprofessionals, and vet service users to seek their views, and will share more details when ready.
Leon Pereira.
I thank the MOS for his answer. Just 2 supplementary questions. One is on the time frame. So currently the investigations can take a year or more. I think recently the regime for handling disciplinary issues for doctors, for human beings, was also sort of revamped and overhauled, partly with a view to reducing the time, because that time, of course, is time where that issue is hanging over the head of the veterinarian and so on. So is the ministry considering ways to sort of reduce that time taken for the investigation? And secondly, in terms of what the MOS said on reviewing the structure of regulation and considering a professional or elected body, that's good news. Is there a time frame for when this review is targeted to be completed roughly? Thank you.
I thank the member for the 2 supplementary questions. On the first question about time frame, indeed, this is something that we are very mindful of for any investigations when the complainant and the accused are being looked into. As I mentioned earlier, MPACS, or AVS in specifics, part of MPACS is looking into the investigations once to have a thorough evaluation. We have to interview all the parties concerned. We have to look at thorough medical records. And for animals, which in a way, perhaps unlike human beings, we need to bring in the relevant veterinary practitioners with expertise. For example, if the animal is a frog, a rabbit, a hamster, a dog, or cat, maybe require different expertise for them to join into the panel, the committee of evaluation, CEC, the committee that we are convening to look into this matter. And this is something that we are very mindful of, and making sure that the process is robust, objective, and thorough. I take Mr. Leon's point about whether we could look into shortening the process. This is something that we have to discuss with our stakeholders in the veterinary sector, as well as the different users of the vet services, and we also look at this as part of the overall review that we are doing. And the second question around the setting up of the professional body or entity that was mentioned in my reply, this is part, maybe to allow me to contextualize it to the member, this is part of the overall broader pet sector review, which I spoke about also in response to the member's question yesterday. We're looking at raising standards and professionalism across the entire pet sector, from boarders, breeders, animal welfare groups, to veterinarians, to trainers, to individual users, and we are doing so collectively. And its intent is to bring different stakeholders together to understand the issues, understand each other's perspective, and come to a common consensus on how we want to move together with the view of the welfare of the pet at the center of what we do. And as part of this pet sector review, we are also engaging the veterinary sector, and this is something they are looking at in terms of the various parts of the standards. So indeed, this is something that's ongoing, and we hope to share more details when ready.